friends, let's settle in. Welcome to our meditation time. It is an honor to get to spend these few minutes with you, and I hope that you feel that it's an honor to just pause from all of the activity and just spend some time here in the present moment. So as your body settles in, I would invite you just to close your eyes or soften your gaze, and let's just find a steady rhythm of breath. Just a slow, deep inhale and a slow, full exhale. And breathing in and breathing out. And in and out. And as you settle in and just continue that ebb and flow of that in and out breath, I would invite all of us just for these next few breaths just to think about this new year that we've just entered. We're only a couple days in, but just think about what a blessing it is that here we are. I know sometimes we feel like time moves too fast. There's regret. There's the sense of not getting enough done. I know it all. But let's just marvel at what a gift it is that here we are, 2025. A chance to be this active participant in this beautiful life that we each get to live. We don't have to worry about the next 12 months or the next 300 and something days. Rather, this practice reminds us to be in the present moment. The months will come. The new year will end and a new one will follow. But instead of living in those big chunks of time, there is so much joy and so much peace here in this present moment. And so just kind of notice, see if you can feel it. Be so grateful that you are here, alive and breathing, with another chance to do good in this world. And so in the coming days, we're going to return to this text that really guides all the things we know about yoga and meditation and breath and mindful practices. This book of the Yoga Sutras. And so as we do this and as we really begin to root our meditation practice into these old teachings that are so relevant, so meaningful for us today, I thought it would be good just to start and think about, what do we want? What do we want from this life? What do we want from this practice? What do we want from all the plans that we make, all the things that we do in our lives? What do we want? The Yoga Sutras were written probably about 3,000 years ago. We don't exactly know. But they are these simple statements, these aphorisms, these sutras, these threads that weave together the whole practice of yoga. Not yoga on the mat, but yoga that we're practicing right here. The yoga of being. The yoga of this beautiful human existence. Of marveling at the present moment, of noticing our breath, of moving our body, of treating each other with kindness, all of that. It's what we learn in the Yoga Sutras. And so the interesting thing is that there are these 4 chapters that all of these sutras fall into. And one of the chapters, chapter 3, are about the accomplishments of yoga. And so I thought we should start today with, what do we want? What was your motivation for that first time you sat down and you crossed your legs, or you stretched out and you closed your eyes and you said, I want to explore this idea of meditation. I want to know more. I want to experience it. I want to understand it. So just pause for a second as you breathe and just think, what was your motivation? What drew you to this practice? And for some of us, it's been many, many years, and some many, many days. But no matter where you are on this continuum, I would ask us all today, what do we want from this practice? Perhaps that's changed since that first motivation of that first time you sat down. Maybe it's deepened or broadened or completely shifted. Or maybe it's still the same. So just think to yourself, what do I want? For many, it's peace. It's calm, it's ease, it's presence, it's awareness, it's connection to a bigger source than who we are. It's an understanding of how we fit into the universe. It's so many things to each of us. But today, as we begin this new calendar year, what do you want from your practice? And then there's a whole chapter of these Yoga Sutras that are called sadhana. And the easiest translation is it's the stuff that we do. It's our habits, our patterns, our practices. And what we learn in the Yoga Sutras is what we do directly impacts what we get. Our practice influences those accomplishments, those things that come from the practice. And so as you thought just seconds ago, what do you want from this practice? I would ask each of us, what are we doing to get those things? What are we doing to bring those things to fruition, to manifestation in our lives? And I know the obvious answers we've shown up here. But what about the other 1,400 and something other minutes? If peace is something that you want from this practice, what do you actively do in your life every single day to cultivate it, to nurture it, to discover it? If balance is something that you're seeking from this practice, what are you doing every day to restore and maintain balance in your life? If awareness is what you want from this practice, what are you doing to get rid of the distractions that seem to flood our day every day? And I ask those questions of all of us because there is such a direct correlation between the things that we do and the things that we receive. We often set out first with this idea of what do we want? But we've really got to back it up, and we've got to look at the things that we engage in each day. And it's not a matter of making a list of what's wrong or making ourselves feel guilty. It's just examination. As we move throughout our day, just examining, I said I really want peace. Is this contributing to that? I said I was really seeking to restore balance. Is this contributing to that? And so it goes. It doesn't mean that you stop and you evaluate every moment and every thought. But it does mean that you begin to find these really beautiful connections between the practice here in meditation and all the minutes out there. None of us are going to go and live in a cave on the side of the mountain. So how do we maintain this here, once we go out there? I think it starts with what is ironically the third chapter of the Yoga Sutras. It starts with knowing what we want. What are we trying to accomplish with this? And then peeling back these layers to see if how we live, how we move through the world really aligns with that. I was just sitting earlier today in my quiet time, and I thought about the frustrations that we all get and how you go to work, you go to school, you go to places in the community, you hang out with your family, you do all the things, and you get really frustrated when people act a certain way. You get annoyed when there's things that people do that you don't like. And as I just started to think about these things that we all seem to complain about and get frustrated by, I settled on this idea that it all comes down to alignment. When people begin to act a certain way around us and it bothers us, it's not that that person bothers us, but what they're doing is not aligned with this life that we're trying to live, with this person that we're trying to be. And so there's this friction. And it's really easy to look at their behavior or look at them and place blame, but rather, I think it's just this little nudge on our soul and our heart saying something here is just not aligned. I think about driving down the highway, and I get so, or I was getting so annoyed when drivers were so unkind. And so now I'm really aware of that annoyance. And I'm realizing it's not that I don't like the driver or that I don't like how he's driving. It's the fact that his lack of kindness does not align with how I'm trying to live. And there's friction. And so we do that as we go through our day and we go through our world and we interact with people. But now it's time to turn that lens back on us. Begin to notice where there's a little bit of friction. If what we really want is peace or balance, if what we really want is harmony or ease or joy, are the things that we do each day aligned? If they're not, we're going to feel friction. We're going to feel that misalignment. And instead of getting guilty or frustrated by it, let's use it as a teaching moment of, you know what? This is one of those things. This is one of those things that I need to sit with and see if it needs to stay or if it needs to go. And so what I want us to do is we're going to just pause and sit in the quiet with one question in mind. What do you want? What do you want from this practice? What do you want from this beautiful existence that you've been blessed with? What do you want? Don't force the list. Don't force the things. Just see what comes to mind. Just notice. What do you want? And as you continue just to sit and be and breathe, just notice what came to mind. Maybe there were some distractions in there as you heard a sound, or your body got restless, or you thought about something else. But within all of that, just see what you noticed that popped up. What do you really want? What's your heart's desire from this practice? And then our final question to sit with is, when our heart gets pricked, or our spirit gets nudged, or we get that sensation in the pit of our stomach, are we willing to look at the friction and make a decision if that thing needs to stay or that thing needs to go? Are we willing to look at the alignment of how we live and what we want? It's not about making commitments and resolutions and all the things. It is just knowing so clearly what we want and not letting anything to get in the way. Life will happen. We will have situations that cause suffering. But through it all, we maintain this sense of, I want peace in my life. And when I find that there is misalignment and I feel the friction by something or someone or a thought pattern that I have, I want to be willing to let that go. Because my cultivation of peace is too precious and too important to hang on to that other thing. So as we go through the coming days and we sit with this topic for a while, we keep coming back to it. Just kind of notice as you go through your interactions with people and how easy it is to notice when someone really bugs you or someone's behavior feels really off to you. Notice how it's the friction of alignment. What they're doing or what they're saying doesn't align. It doesn't match the person that you are and how you want to be. And when you notice that in the world, let it be a reminder to notice it within yourself as well. Keep asking the question of what you want and be willing to examine all these actions, these patterns, these habits of thoughts, and check for the alignment. And if it's not there, sit with it. Just sit with it and see what comes from that. As we go through our days, just continue to ask the question, what do I want? And am I willing to live the life that reflects that? Namaste.